I found myself in spaces where I was mostly the only African woman.
Mm-hmm.
So people would be having relatable conversations. And when I was young, and we went on a roller coaster, my friend, we were sliding by the river.
It was a very difficult time for me. I was grieving. I was new in the country. I was just completely alone.
Yeah.
I was alone because I'm also an only child. Ala Nation, hello. Welcome to another episode on African Lives Abroad. I'm your host, Fadzi.
And I'm Kate Nylander.
You look good, by the way.
You. So do you. Love
So,
the earrings.
what are we doing? The blues? Clearly.
Came out to play. I'm in a playful mood with my polka dots over there.
I love that. There's a blue theme going on. It was in the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And the earrings are popping. I love it.
Yeah.
So today, our episode is quite important, I think.
Emotional.
It is emotional. What are we talking about, Kate?
We're looking at loneliness abroad. Lonely.
I'm so lonely.
Let's leave it at that.
Oh my God, girl, I could tear up just from hearing the topic because this is a big one. Feeling lonely abroad.
Yeah.
I think there are so many layers to it, so we might not be able to do it justice, but I hope that at least with the episode you can feel like you're not alone in this whole experience. So what's been your experience with loneliness abroad? Especially as an African. I mean, we tend to be bubbly by nature, you know?
Yeah. Actually, loneliness is what got me here.
What got you here? To China?
To not being bubbly anymore.
Loneliness sucked the bubbliness out.
I used to be a bubbly African.
And now you're
the few ones left.
Now you're just African. The bubbly is gone.
Yeah, now I'm just African. Yeah. But before we get even to that, I feel like loneliness, well, according to me actually, what shaped my experiences was divided into three.
Mm-hmm.
The age that I moved from.
The age that you moved from home.
Yeah, from home.
Mm-hmm.
Cultural differences.
Yeah.
And boredom.
Oh, yeah.
So let me
boredom can be a real thing.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about your experience.
I left Kenya when I was 28, as I've told everybody. 28 is very old. You guys don't be sitting there thinking it's old.
For what?
For someone leaving their country.
You can leave your country at any age. Don't listen.
You can, but in the topic we are on right now.
Oh, for loneliness?
No, it would. The age you leave your country in, which especially if you're moving to a country that does not speak your language, or rather any country, it's gonna shape how you experience that country. The people who leave when they're 6, they have no memories of anything else.
True.
All they know is this.
Yeah.
So for me, when I moved there, you can imagine for 28 years, I had already made friends. Mm-hmm. Some we had been friends for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this thing, when you're moving abroad, you're just like, life is just gonna continue as it was. Shock on you. First of all, making friends when you're older is tough. It's tough because people come with baggage, and some, especially from different cultures, it's too much baggage. Some people have been influenced by deeper things like war.
That's real talk.
Yeah. So you can imagine at that age finding people that I can relate to. Oh my God. That was so difficult. And then culture.
Plus, she might seem very out there in the videos, but she's actually an introvert. So
yeah, how I make my friends. I want their values. Here's the thing. Number one, don't stress me. As a human being, don't stress me. The moment you stress me, I run, and I will never be seen back. I know. I'm sorry for everyone who saw me once and never saw me again. Yeah. What happened? So yeah, when I'm looking for friends, I want, number one, don't stress me. Number two, do we have things in common? Can we have a conversation where and also being who I am, I'm not the kind of friend who's gonna text every day. But if you call me, I'm gonna be there. Whose car do we need to slash? But you get the drift.
Yes. So it was hard to make friends.
It was hard at that age, and then there's cultural differences. So I found myself in spaces where I was mostly the only African woman. So people would be having relatable conversations. And when I was young, and we went on a roller coaster, my friend, we were sliding by the river bank.
We're like, excuse me, what's a roller coaster?
And then everyone's like, I don't know. But she's strange. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. No, I understand it.
I get you though.
People
that experiences are very different.
Yeah, you hear people asking each other, how was it in Britain? Oh, so how was it in the US? How was it in, and then when it comes to, should we even bother? Or you start telling them your stories, they're like, oh, that's odd.
Yeah, that will cause somebody to get lonely. So how would you say cultural differences played a role in feeling lonely sometimes in your experience abroad?
I don't even know whether it was cultural differences or it was madness. Because one time I got so lonely. I think you've gotten the feeling that my life in Sweden was a bit tough. And I'm actually now recovering.
Intense is the word.
It was intense, yeah. I'm still unpacking slowly. So I remember this time I got so lonely. And loneliness in Sweden bites you.
Oh.
Because I get this feeling that the society expects you to take care of yourself. It's not like other normal places I've lived in. What is even normal?
That's the question.
Yeah. Other places I've lived in where if someone disappears, you check on them. In Sweden, it felt more like it just disappeared. That's your problem.
Yeah.
So I had never dealt with loneliness in that way. You can feel lonely if your partner breaks up with you, something like that. You can feel lonely. But that was so empty. So this one time...
Oh, it felt more like emptiness.
It was empty and I had time to think about it.
Oh.
Because you go to work, oh my God. Yeah, anyway. So this one time I got so lonely, I called the cops. Now tell me I know you.
Wait, wait right there before you continue with the story.
Yeah.
You got lonely.
I called the cops.
You called the cops.
Yeah. I still don't know why I did it. I don't know the logic, and I told them I'm very lonely. Sometimes I think they wanted me to deport me. I think that could have been the logic because. I don't have the guts. I don't have the guts to leave the country. I was just poking the bear. Anything. Because remember, Sweden was good for me, my career.
Yes.
So when I leave, I don't have the guts. I honestly, I don't know how to explain my.
Okay, let me say back what I'm hearing. So you call the cops when you're feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to trigger.
Yeah.
Being deported. Or something.
I don't know.
There
are things.
Because you couldn't bring yourself to say, okay, I'm just leaving.
Yeah.
Because then you're leaving a good job.
Exactly.
You're leaving. Yeah. But if something happened, where it's like, oh, it's out of my control.
It's out of,
I have to go back home.
But honestly, I don't think that was it. I still don't know because that's not the only incident I did in Sweden. Never makes sense. I keep telling you I had an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
So I called the cops.
What did
cops
they say?
in Sweden are very psychological compared to some other countries that we will not mention. So they just listen and say, man, you know, this is not the right place to call. Maybe you should go to a doctor. I'm sorry, sweets. You're my in-laws. But that's the accent. So I just sat there and I never thought about it. There are things now I think about right now. I'm like, what?
Or like you just moved on from the experience.
I moved on.
But did it help? Did it help though? At least having the conversation.
I spoke to someone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That point.
I spoke to
That
someone.
point.
And they sympathized.
So you felt heard, even though they didn't have a solution for you, but at least you felt somebody heard you.
Yeah, and you see, this is my first year. I've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Remember now, I'm going through this. I have already gone through sleeping in the snow. Like I have everything that everyone in Africa dreams of. A job in a very, okay, not everyone in Africa. People in Africa are doing very well. Yeah. But some people. I have a job in a very good place. I have a proper salary. Yeah. But I have no one to talk to. Yeah. You call home, they're like, oh.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
That's the thing. Yeah. You know? And it's not a blame or anything like that. It's just really. Yeah. They've also never been to that place. Yeah. And so they don't know really what it's like. Exactly. And possibly never experienced that level of loneliness where you just, you know, pick up the phone and call the cops. I mean, the story is both funny and sad at the same time. Yeah. But what I actually appreciate in what I'm hearing you say is the fact that you got to a point where you said, I need to talk to someone. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Maybe you didn't say it to yourself in that way, but that reaching out was something.
What are they going to do? And bless Swedish police. Yeah. To be honest, they're good. So yeah, I struggled with loneliness a lot. Yeah. I'm telling you, now that was the first stage of madness. Now then I met my now husband.
Mikael.
Yeah, and imagine, he's there for me, but remember he also doesn't understand what I'm going through. We have cultural differences. Yes. So there are things I'm gonna tell him, like when you tell someone something and it bounces back, you feel emptier than before. Yes. So before you align two cultures, it takes a long time. Intercultural relationships take a while. So
and some work really
and work,
break things down.
Exactly. Yeah. So I remember one time. No, there were so many times I booked. I think every Thursday. Every Thursday I'd book a plane. And plane ticket. I'm going back to Kenya. Remember, because I'm lonely and I never use my money with anything. Yeah. And so I still live in my closet. So it's not like the rent is a lot.
And you're just like, and you're reaching that point mentally every week. Yeah. I'm just going to go back home. I'm
gonna go back home. And I have a little money to just randomly save, book a flight. Yeah. Because most people wait for end month. Me, I have no life at this point. Okay. So individually.
Oh my God! So you book it and then cancel it.
And then book it. But one time I lost the money because I was very determined to go. Because I remember the first time I booked it, he convinced me. The second time he had introduced me to his family. So that time, what happened that time? He called his family because now his family has started to like me, to convince me not to leave. I told him, if you ever do that again, it's over. Then I had given him my dad's phone number in case anything ever happens.
In case of emergency.
Yeah. So
had they met? Never. No, because actually you hadn't gone with him yet to Kenya.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're getting to know each other. Yeah. So the next time I had booked, he was like, "No, what do I do?" She said, "If I call my family, it's gonna be over. Let me call her family." And that's how. Hey, my name is Mikael. I know your daughter. I love her very much. African.
To an African father. Oh, I would have loved to eavesdrop on that conversation.
I would have loved to be a hustler. Probably my dad was
I wanted to be a fly on the wall. at your dad's house though, you know, at your parents' house. You know what I mean?
That's just the reaction.
Just to see his reaction.
Shit.
I love her very much.
So my dad was like, okay, it's a TMI, but yeah, I'll talk to her. So my
because you told her what you're lonely.
Yeah, I'm lonely. I'm going through a lot. So my dad starts calling me, comparing my loneliness to my grandpa's loneliness when he moved from one village to the other and started new life there. I was like, whatever, man. Anyway, I will stay. And he said, that gentleman really loves you.
Oh.
I was like, what happened to my dad? Who are you?
Exactly.
Who are you?
Who's this man?
Yeah. So, man, there's so many stories of me and loneliness, and it never got better.
Wow.
Until I left. All I can say is I got a few people, but they were also struggling. So you can't really struggle. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard
everyone
to
is overwhelmed.
Pull someone up when you yourself are struggling. So
yeah,
it gets overwhelming.
And it wasn't just me. It was everyone. It's like the whole country is struggling. And Swedes make their friends when they're kids, and they grow with those friends, and that becomes it. But loneliness was a pandemic.
Yeah,
but it taught me to be strong. Out of that, I learned how to be alone. Like I can be alone and very unbothered, which is very seriously creepy for an African girl. But
it builds character, because sometimes you go through life and you have moments when you need to be strong by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it taught me to be very strong, because it's when you're lonely that when you're alone, you know your true self. And I think it's in Sweden that I knew my true self. I became very self-aware. I knew my weaknesses. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm still work in progress, but I know my weaknesses. Like, if someone comes to tell me my weaknesses, I'm like, I know.
You don't have to tell me. I've seen myself. I've seen myself.
What about you?
Really extreme. I've had experiences with loneliness.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
You didn't call the police.
I didn't call the police, but it doesn't mean you know, that I wasn't close to calling the police, or it's just I experienced a lot of it actually at different times, but in the very beginning of my stay in China, you know, because I moved here literally like a month just after my mom passed away, which was a lot, and my dad had already passed. And when my dad passed, I think because, well, I didn't live with him every day. I lived with my mom, but she sort of took on the everything. Yeah. So I didn't feel, in a parental sense, she just like picked it all up and we carried on. Yeah. So I didn't really mourn my dad in a very normal way. Yeah. My mom just kind of carried on, and things were just stable. Yeah. And then when she passed, I felt like both my parents died on the same day. It just felt like everything collapsed all at once. So it was a very difficult time for me. I was grieving. I was new in the country. I was just completely alone. Yeah. I was alone because I'm also an only child. I was literally alone in terms of that. Yeah. And then bless people. It's just that I don't think we ever really know, especially as Africans, how loneliness can really drive everything that someone is feeling, especially when they're abroad. So when people speak to you, they don't expect, firstly, you're somewhere that they deem to be better than where they are, so they already think you're having a good time. And then the way we just sort of handle or understand rather emotional issues is different. Yeah. So I felt like I had nowhere to go really with all of those emotions, and it was very tough. I don't want to lie, like really, really tough. Imagine. Yeah. But I think the thing that saving grace was, I was kind of just like a functionally depressed. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So you're just like, you go to work. You do what you need to do, and then you come back home and just completely are in a different state, Yeah, so that was very hard. It played a lot on my mind, and just feeling exhausted, and then you don't make the best decisions from that kind of place.
Of course.
You know, it's just really, I get
feel
it.
like depression is like almost being an alcoholic. That we will talk
Because it's a
about.
different mind. Like you go to a particular place in your mind where opportunities are limited, or things that are positive are limited. So you are like in a negative spin all the time. So how you feel about yourself and how you feel about life and opportunities in life is very different. Because it's like your energy is suppressed. So basically, you know. It's a lot to deal with.
Loneliness is a pandemic, and you know, you said something very special then, that nobody expects you as an African to have a problem like loneliness. Your problem should be money.
Exactly.
And opportunities. And now that you have them, why are you complaining?
Why are you complaining? You know, we're bubbly as people by nature, but I think that's also because sometimes we don't deal with things. Right?
There you have it.
So now you are in a place and you're alone there, or there's few of you there. So it's hard to escape the issues. You have to face them and do something about them. So I know for sure possibly there are people in our audience who've experienced loneliness abroad. If you have, we would love to hear about it. How did you overcome it? What are your tips and tools? Just share with everybody in the community, just in case people need some help. But
relatability.
Exactly. But also seek professional help if it's really to the point where you really feel like it's affecting you and how you're behaving and the decisions you're making. It might be important to just seek some help in the area where you are.
And pursue your hobbies. Hobbies.
Oh my God, yes.
I cannot
stress that enough.
How much it is important to have a hobby. It keeps you busy.
It keeps you busy, and then it helps you meet people. So try your best not to only meet people like at a party or when you go out for drinks.
If anything, stay away from drinks.
So try and meet people doing activities that you enjoy. If you like hiking, go hike. If you like working out and exercising, we met because we love working out and exercising. And now look at us doing podcasts and everything. Because then your values with the people doing those activities are most likely aligned. If you love cooking or whatever, look for cooking activities, whatever you're into. Find a community of people doing that, because then you make good friends from there. And then you have some people to share life with. And that can help if you're feeling lonely abroad.
So I guess that's it for today.
That's it for today.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe. What else should they do?
Follow us on Instagram.
Pinterest.
Apparently we have a Pinterest. What are we doing on Pinterest though? What's going on?
We need to go where the people are.
the African lives are abroad are on Pinterest. All right.
And LinkedIn as well, if you wish. But see you on the next one.
See you on the next one, Our Nation.